Well, folks, welcome on back. It gives me great pleasure to welcome to Music Gumbo and KOCF, the Intrepid Traveler himself, Mr. Ken Babbs. Ken, thanks for taking some time to sit down on this chilly.
You just quit. What happened?
Oh, dear.
Andy,
Oh,
can
there
you
we
hear
are.
me?
All right, I'm back. I'm back.
Okay, you're back. You're
Welcome to
back.
the show. Thanks for sitting in, Ken. I appreciate it very much, really.
That's okay. Glad to do it.
Now, I think people don't realize that Ken Babbs had a life before the Pranksters. You
Oh,
were
God.
you were actually quite the basketball player at the University of, I think it was Miami, Ohio, right?
Yes, it was.
And you guys got to play in an NCAA tournament.
2 years in a row, yeah. We got
Wow.
knocked
So
out. We got knocked out the second year by Kentucky, who went on to win the whole thing.
wow. So then you played against, I mean, Adolph Rupp was the coach in those days, right?
It was his last season.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's fantastic. So
Uh,
people may also not know, even so after college, you became a Marine and you were actually one of the first advisors to be in Vietnam during that time.
Well, we weren't technically advisors. In '62, when I went over, I was in a helicopter squadron flying helicopters, and the whole squadron went over as a total unit. So we were not advisors. We were actually working there, hauling troops, hauling supplies, doing whatever we could to assist the government in their fight.
Wow. So now, okay, let's fast forward now. You meet Ken Kesey,
Okay.
and it seems like the commonality, something that coalesced you, was the scroll, which was Jack Kerouac's original version of On the Road, which was I understand just kind of rolled out onto the floor, and the affinity
Yes.
that you guys had for each other kind of developed from that.
Yes, we both loved On the Road, and we were striving to be writers, attending the writing class at Stanford, the graduate writing school. And that's funny. The scroll, you can now get the original scroll in hardback book, because On the Road was edited pretty heavily, and
Wow.
so I bought the scroll and read that, and oh my gosh, it's way richer than the edited version. So if anybody wanted to read that now and hadn't read it, get the scroll, the original version.
Now,
There he
so
goes
what?
again. He disappears.
We're both kind of, I think we're both going in and out. So now how did what was it like having Dean Moriarty as the prankster's driver?
Well, it was better to have Neil Cassidy because he did not like having to be Dean Moriarty in the flesh, and he hated when people expected him to be Dean Moriarty
Oh,
because that was a character in a book. He's a
right,
real guy.
right. Now, okay, let's talk about Cronies. Just released, and it is a
Yes.
collection of your stories about the pranksters and about Neil and about Ken. What made you want to write Cronies?
Well, I was at a point where I had to do something, and my wife well, she just retired from teaching English at South Eugene High School for 19 years, and she taught Kesey both Notion and Cuckoo's Nest. And every class, I'd go in and talk to her class.
Oh,
And
wow.
so I'd make notes, kind of what am I going to talk about and all that. And but over all those years, I developed quite a nice storytelling routine that went with every class, for 50 minutes. So when I was going through my notes and everything, I thought, well, why don't I expand this into a book? And then I didn't want it to be a memoir, and I didn't want it to be fiction. I mean, gosh, the fiction you have to, give everybody new names, new places, and all that. Too much work. And the memoir, I hate memoirs, And so I came across this literary form called a burlesque.
Oh,
That's first burlesque was written in 1700s, called Knickerbocker's History of New York City, and it was full of all kinds of wild stuff, and it was called a burlesque. And like one of the things in there was, why is the mayor of New York going down and meeting all the boats and bringing all the good-looking women coming to America up to work in City Hall? And people were saying, "Who is this Knickerbocker? What is this guy doing?" And there'd even be ads in the paper. Why is this guy writing this stuff? It turned out the author was writing the ads, and then it was revealed the author was actually Washington Irving, the most famous writer in America,
oh
and the
wow.
first author in America to ever make his living by writing.
Wow.
So that solidified it for me. Okay, if it's good enough for Washington Irving, it's good enough for me. But then also, I decided to do it as a series of stories. Each story self contained, 70 stories in all. And they move through time in a way that, starting with the time I met Kesey at Stanford in '58 to when he died in 2001. And it's a good collection. Each story can be, as its own standalone thing.
Right, and that's what I was noticing, and for me, that was what was so fascinating about it, was seeing all the kind of, again, like you say, these individual bits and pieces. For instance, in the beginning where you talk about meeting Kesey, and that was, I guess you had given some speech and kind of went off the rails, and Kesey really liked that, and that was kind of what drew him to you.
Well, when we first met there, the head of the department, Wallace Stegner, threw a cocktail party on his deck. And I went up and introduced myself, and he said, "Oh yeah, I've heard of you. You're that guy that was down in North Beach in San Francisco at the open mic, and you started railing on all the people there about they should get jobs and start contributing to the economy instead of being a drag on the economy, and they got pissed off and threw you out the door." He says, "What was that all about?" I said, "Well, they didn't understand satire."
Now, what? So, do you have any of? I mean, I know you out of 70 stories. Are there any of that are your favorites that you want to just quickly tell about?
Well, there were so many. One of the real good ones is the time the Hells Angels came to party at Kesey's for a weekend, and
Oh
Allen
goodness.
Ginsberg was there, and that was a wonderful scene. Another good one was when we took the bus to the Berkeley Vietnam anti-war rally, big rally out on the lawn, thousands of people there. And Hell's Angels, and after the rally, they were going to march to Oakland, the induction center, where guys would go in and protest there. And the Hells Angels were going to meet them at the border between Oakland and Berkeley and beat up anybody that crossed. And so the cops heard about this, and oh boy, they were overjoyed. This means that they could beat up on the Hells Angels and the
And the
protesters
protesters at
too
the same
at the
time.
same time. But anyway, yeah. So we went to it, and we parked the bus, and we're walking through the crowd, and here were these provocateurs, guys in suits, working for the government, trying to get something started there, a fight or something started there, so the cops could come right into there and beat up on everybody. And so we were walking along, and they're about to go at it, and Neil Cassidy he has a pack of dentine gum, and he whips it open, and he takes out the gum, and he chews a piece, and he holds it out and says, "Dentine gum, anybody? Dentine gum, anybody? It clears your mind, clears your breath, clears all the anxiety and the angst out of you. You don't want to fight." And everybody's going, "Who? What?" And it just kind of dissolved the whole thing, and they petered out. And this became one of the prankster things that we were able to do whenever we'd be in an altercation or something like that. Do something, come up with something so off the wall that it would send things sideways and confuse them, and just everything would sputter to pieces. And then we'd disappear off into our regular lives. Who were those masked people anyway?
And isn't it true that the pranksters would get off the bus, and and people kind of didn't know what to make of it because you guys weren't all in tie-dyes and everything. You guys were kind of, these clean cut guys walking off the bus, and people just weren't sure what to make of that.
Oh yeah, we were regular people. Yeah, we were all like 28, 29 years old, and we were just regular people wearing our regular stuff. But we did all have striped shirts that was horizontal striped shirts because we were shooting a movie. And if we wore these shirts all the time, when we edited, we could edit different pieces back and forth, and you wouldn't know, what time it was. This is an old movie trick. So you could intersperse scenes from different places, different times into whatever you were working on, and you'd have the same clothes on. But anyway, everybody was attracted to the bus. It was painted, but it was obviously a school bus, and kids just loved it. And so we'd be at a gas station or something. They'd just come there, and the Merry Band of Pranksters is actually a band. We all played instruments. We had our trombone and our flutes and our saxophone and clarinets and drums, and we'd get out there and play our music, and we'd be filming and taping all this, and they'd be joining in, and then we'd get into some kind of drama. We were good at making up stuff too. Little dramas, like I remember the one where Kesey had a cape like a guy fighting the bulls, and I put this hat on that had horns, and I would rush at him and he'd pull it aside. Ole, ole! We did stuff like that.
Oh, there's so many times that I wish I was just a bit older so that I could have got on the real bus.
Well, we wouldn't have let you on.
But it has been great watching from afar and listening to stories and reading about the stories. And I thank you for being on today, Ken. Tell people where they can get the book and how they can get the book, Cronies.
Yeah, Cronies, you can get it now at Tsunami Books in Eugene. He bought up a bunch of them, so he'd have them. The actual publication date isn't until January 11th, when they'll be in bookstores all over the country and on Amazon. You can even order it on Amazon now, but you won't get it till then. So the best place to get it is go to Tsunami Books right now until he runs out. He did a pre-order thing in which people could pre-order and have it sent to them, and he got over 950 pre-orders. So last week, I went in there and signed them all, and they packaged them all out, and so they've all gone out to everybody now. And I've gotten emails and messages from people who have received them. That's really good. Everybody really likes it.
And how's your hand from signing all those books?
There was nothing to it. I don't know why everybody kept thinking my hand was going to get. Fuck no. I feel part of the expression. I know this is a family show. sorry, Grandma, but I know you've heard that word before. So anyway, where was it? Well, I had a great pen that it was really, really easy. I just signed each one exactly right. And when I picked the book up to put it on a pile with my right hand, my writing hand, that started to hurt my thumb. So I quit doing that, and I changed to my left hand to raise the book. So no sweat, no pain, lots of gain.
Excellent. Well, thank you so much, Kev, for being on the show. I'm actually going to go. I'm going to go out. So I have one of the old acid test recordings with you as MC, and it is a great commentary on what's going on at the moment with Neil, as well as the captain who is keeping things going in this particular segment. Again, Ken, thank you so much for being on the show.
Right.
The Intrepid Traveler himself. The book is fantastic, folks. I'm about halfway through. And I can't even pick a favorite part yet, just because the stories are all so good.
Well, thank you very much, Andy. This has been great. Been great talking to you. Hey, maybe we'll meet again in meat space.
Yeah. Yes, indeed.
Okay, let's hear the record.
Going into Operation Crystallization. Crazy, the chief engineer, has already left his station at the TV console.
Louder.
To prepare the rocket fuel needed to enter this new configuration. The captain himself is going down.
Is that better?
There's the electrician. Cassidy, however, will remain at his post with the projection action move in order to keep driving this ship through whatever electrical and meteor shower we have to counter. We'll keep
That
all
is
the
from
special
the
alive
Film
and alive
Auditorium
and
Acid
alive
Test
and
in
alive
San
and
Francisco.
Nice. I don't know where I dug that up, but I've had it. I've had that forever.
Oh yeah, that's a good one. That's really good. Somewhere I have the whole thing. I should
Oh,
get that
I
out.
do. I have the whole thing,
CD.
but there's too much cussing and I can't play it on the air. But it's about two and a
Which
half
tit?
minutes. I have a whole 2.5 minute thing.
Oh, good. That's good. Yeah, that was a good bit.
Yeah. All right, Ken. Thank you again so much. Appreciate it. Be well.
Okay,
See
going
ya.
off.
See
Okay,
ya.
you too.